The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Could there have been a third person? Halsey is the missing person. The deceased's name is Cowell. Could there have been a third person? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along? The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Could there have been a third? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary... The deceased's name is... Could there have been a third person? The deceased's name is... Could there have been a third... The deceased's name is Cap... Halsey is the missing person. Could there have been a third? The deceased's name is Cap...
That can't be right.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. Linny was not in the It would have been tough for both people. Linny was not in the tunnel at that. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the... The deceased's name is... Halsey's clothing... It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? It would have been tough for both...
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring...
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know...
Excuse my interrupt.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water.
Disappeared instead of being kidnapped? Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
How could a person ever... Magic tricks are ultimate...
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased, Cowell.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are... water from the primordial sea.
The Primordial Sea.
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism. The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey entered the magic box. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to do with this? I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. The deceased's name is Cowell. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form... The rope that strung the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and cut. As such, the focus here is on the water and not the tank. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism. I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to do with this? I remember there was something... I remember there was... The water from the primordial sea...
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel, and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case, and we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What?
That can't be.
Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack. Oh, does this not clear up, my dears? Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowell then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization. Am I right, Mr. Linny?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here. Is this the end of the road?
Oh no! Seems using the water as new evidence was too...
I believe this is indeed... Now then, my...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout, and to respect the ongoing legal proceeding.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Linny, if you would be so kind.
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Linny and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowell. I admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Linny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief! Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was onto me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's perspective. The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between Lillian and Cowell. Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time. Just what one might expect of an experienced thief.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended. She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the Opera House these last 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo! Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow, look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent.
Hooray, Linny and Lynette! Amazing!
While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Victory for Ace Detective Paimon!
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! You're discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dared to bring before this court?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The...
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui. I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past. Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first, but he would constantly take me to all
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took after one particular performance. I waited a long time. The answer he gave me.
Oh no.
As far as outsiders are concerned, I managed to ferret. All I saw was the...
So...
That's right. Father, I mean, the House of the Hearth. I was hesitant, but she was all...
Oh, so that...
She has gained permit...
So, she...
That's right. Today's case has all of us house members. To us orphans...
So, From small to...
It's all right. I just hope you can if you should need anything at all.
Bye, Linny!
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us now?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't... Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow now, right?
Ah, I see. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer. Well, sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to... Anyway, it would just be a meal.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navia's treating, count Paimon in!
Oh, wonderful.
All right, then. Let's have our farewell meal.
You lead the way.
Over here! Surprise! I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your taste.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while. Paimon's getting excited already.
In that case, I'll go order for us first.
Ooh, everything looks so good. People in Fontaine sure know how to enjoy life.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
And if it's not?
Well, then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only one dish per table.
Yeah. Sure have your... Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right?
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more food. Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that...
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know...
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be dissolved like that.
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking! We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities... It's not that I don't have... It's easy to guard against and deceive us, which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exist. Those highfalutin folk... It's all right. Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, was to have a chat with the Hydro Archon. I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways?
Guess that's...
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish watching the play, don't you think?
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how to act, and acting's really hard.
All right, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep until she answers all your questions. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
That might work, but that's not really the problem. The problem is we don't want to get ourselves arrested.
Ah, valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep. All right, no more joking around. Perhaps you could... Oh, I don't know. Cut the line when she's on a break. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make some sense. Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know, strike while the iron is hot and all.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next to Paimon. Would you like to order another?
No, it's fine. We're just about done here.
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fanta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and icky.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Thanks for the treat, Navia. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Nah, that would be so normal. You know, like you.
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're left with...
Hey, Navia! What are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover.
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. Bye, Navia!
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your requests the highest priority. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, partner.
See ya!
Step on up! Yep. Surprise! Step on up!
Be still.
All yours, should you have any use.
Cascade!
Upon the gale. You even want this?
Over here! Surprise!
Zip on up!
Cascade!
The wind rises.
Surprise!
Zip on up! There aren't many people around anymore.
The shit?
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? Ugh. That's kinda spooky. Are you sure we don't want to come back in the morning?
Vache? Vache?
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? Huh? Hang on. Paimon can kinda hear a voice. It's calling for Vache, right? Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache? Are you... my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? Do you know where my love is? I'm... Wait. Who am I? I'm very sorry. I fear I do not know. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I am but the consciousness of one who is lost, therefore. I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water, and then all grew dim. I also remember going to many places. I loved adventure, loved exploring places of peril. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. I knew how dearly he loved me, and I also loved him equally as much. But now, we can no longer go back. The pain of such parting. No, our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new memory. The thought of me gives... If you meet Vache, perhaps that is so. If only I could have comforted him. Is that what you call it? It was a state of need. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first... I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence. Remember, if you see Vache, tell him not to seek me out any longer.
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navi is outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand?
Quick, now's our chance!
I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Chlorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same, were he alive today.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, Demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd be in grave danger?
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
Huh. I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a private force of sorts.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act rashly.
I will continue investigating no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. That's my father's true last wish. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clarand. But if you get any ideas, tell me first. I don't much appreciate being followed.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you. Good day, all.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clarand was being sincere with you. If we tried, we could attempt to thaw relations a little.
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clarand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. In truth, I hope that every meal we have together shall be a victory feast. As such, we're still partners. There's no need to thank me.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula on account of her goodwill long ago.
All right, you two. That's enough.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up in the nick of time.
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed somehow? Ooh, Paimon's even more amazing than she thought!
Yes, all thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did that help?
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly thought of what you said. That the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I recall, had also been a bit off.
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So, if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we speak for saving the boss.
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate, but whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger and hurried here as quickly as I could.
But why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name. Ugh, now we're caught up in this mess too, aren't we?
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Well, it can't be coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. She said that she heard that voice calling for Vache again. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too, but it was real faint. Does this situation have to do with the primordial seawater then? Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people who are not from Fontaine?
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel? While you were out cold?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh, that is important. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court lately. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Could he have been threatened? Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. We will continue to investigate. Oh, you mean you'll help us investigate?
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. That means we're still partners, right? And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off the hook so easily, are you, Traveler?
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of Spina di Rosula, after all.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases, shall we? I'll arrange accommodations for you. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners. But we'll take that one step at a time, I guess.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
Over here! Yep. Yep. Step on up!
Behold! The wind rises.
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue, Traveler.
Step on up! So, this is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, that does sound like it's worth it.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago. I'm afraid I'm not quite his equal.
Your father... he was the previous boss of Spina di Rosula, right? How did he...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partners, this is something I hope they can understand. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself. The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must get to the truth. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful, aren't you, Papa?
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do, anything at all.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callus the Unfaithful. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious when he was accused?
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from Fontaine, really. Everyone's like that. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... Never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused, we have to find the truth. He didn't deserve to have that happen to him.
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent in the duel was Ms. Clorand.
Oh, her? Well, then, isn't that as good as saying that she was the one who killed him? Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that you can just let go and move on from.
Ms. Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't yield, she will not stop either. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how he was resolute in the arena, there was only ever one choice she could have made.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal with this yet.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to do that.
Afterward, Ms. Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right, anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just complaining towards the end. Thanks. You two should go and rest. This was quite a day after all.
Yeah! Paimon's feet.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly.
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost too safe. Huh? Navia? Where did the other two go?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that.
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vache.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now, huh?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere. I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vache person is a key witness in the incident.
Does that mean we're too late, though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten, no matter how much they wanted to. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. If the OC...
So Neuvillette mean... In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice.
Adventuring underground is way more fun than I thought.
Surprise!
Yes.
Behold! Squall and Fury! Behold! Squall and Fury!
Step on up!
The wind rises. Search for it.
Surprise! Over here!
on up!
Behold! Squall Fury!
Over here!
Too slow. The wind rises. That's far enough. Ah! Ah! Unnecessary.
Surprise! Everybody stand back!
Huh?
Swollen Fury!
Over here!
Quit following. Too slow. The wind rises.
Let's light it up! I'm going in!
Swollen Fury!
Off we go! Everybody stand back!
Be still.
The wind rises. Search for it. Huh. You even want this? Behold! Quit following me. Search for it. Too slow.
Adventure time! Zip on up! Surprise!
Fallen Fury.
Step on up! Surprise! Step on up!